So, a very good evening and welcome along to this week's edition of Irish Whiskey Review Live. I'm Justin McCartney, and giving you the thumbs up there is Marty McCauley. Have you a new set there?
Ta-da! Yes, we've done some renovations and modifications, Justin. This week we have a bit of a different show this week, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I'm going to talk about whiskey, ephemera, collectible stuff, that kind of thing, stuff surrounding whiskey. I don't have a huge amount of it, but I cobbled together the little bits that I have.
He's been doing the housework. That's what's been said.
Justin, I had paid employment today. I had tour guiding today.
All right, very good, very good. Yes.
Yes.
You walked miles today, did you? Yeah.
I did. I was showing two very pleasant, nice people around the city of Belfast. For anybody that doesn't know, me and Justin are both tourist guides. That's what we do for a living. When it used to be a
when it used to be a trade.
Yes. Now there's nobody coming, so it's very hard to guide people around. So yeah, I got paid employment today. I was genuinely chuffed.
Yeah. So what was that like today? Did you get wet then? No.
Oh, dry as a bone. It was nice all day. Nice all day. Really nice.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, with a packed show tonight, it's a wee bit different. I've got my glasses on because we're basically going to do the news headlines like the two Ronnies here now, are we?
Yes. If I could have found a pair of plain glasses today, I probably would have bought them, and that way I'd have looked a bit more intelligent and like the two Ronnies. But I think what we do is this week in whiskey, do a couple of news stories about what's been going on in the world of whiskey. Now, first up, I was sort of thinking I should maybe do it like Fiona Bruce. You know the way she shakes her head when it's a bad story. So, this is the horrible announcement that two of the most iconic bars in Belfast, one of which is possibly the best whiskey bar in Ireland, potentially the best whiskey bar in Ireland, are to close for the foreseeable future, and at the minute, permanently, with the loss of around 100 jobs. So the Duke of York and the Hart Bar, two fabulous bars, both owned by the same guy, both owned by the same company, Commercial Inns, and there's no prospect of them opening owing to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Horrific, absolutely horrible. They had dates to open up, didn't open up. They closed fairly early. They were one of the first to close when the pandemic started, and there's no prospect of them opening before next year. So they'll not be open at Christmas, really, no matter what happens. As I say, 100 staff. I know Willie Jack. I know how tough a decision that would have been for him. He's always been very good to his staff, has employed people for a very long time. It's horrific. He gave a press release, he posted a thing on Twitter as well, and he wrote, "We will meet again, we know where, just not when again." So, as I say, horrible news, horrible. Next up.
That's not good at all, Marty, is it?
No, not good at all. As I say, these are iconic bars that hugely popular, and the fact that they haven't opened and they're part of the small independents, you sort of think, what chance do they have? What chance do they have if big players like the Duke of York and the Hart Bar say they can't make it? So horrendous, absolutely horrendous news for Belfast and the wider community as well.
So what's next?
Next up is two exciting releases from Irish distilleries. First off, we have the Waterford. This is an organic whiskey. This is the first certified organic whiskey, which has already been shortlisted for the National Organic Awards. First organic whiskey in Ireland. Just say it's 50% ABV. It's non-chill filtered, no colorant, no etc. Retails about £80 and is called Gaia. after the Gaia theory, I think, the Professor James Lovelock's theory that all the world really works as almost one living organism. So it's named after that. £80 a bottle. Don't know. We'd have to try it and see. But I like that. I like the idea of people doing this kind of thing and taking it seriously and important. So organic whiskey, if you want to be more eco-friendly, if you like. Next up, Teeling's new peated triple distilled black pits. This is distilled at their distillery in Dublin and is the first peated Irish whiskey distilled there for a very, very long time. I'm not sure how long it would be, but it's peated. It's 46% ABV. Again, non-chill filtered, finished in bourbon and wine casks. It's about, I've read in the press release, it's about 15 ppm part per million of peated. So that's not very heavily peated. It's not a peat monster whiskey, but it's a peated triple distilled Irish whiskey from their own distillery, which is quite exciting in its own way. Retails about £54 a bottle, and I think it's a nice addition to their already quite large range. So those are two new Irish whiskies this week available for pre-order.
They look very stylish, don't they?
They do. I really like Waterford's blue bottling. I think it really stands out. Looks really quite chic. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Now, with other news this week as well.
Controversial. A Californian distillery called Bespoken Spirits have said that they can age whiskey in a few days, not years. They can do bespoke whiskies in days.
Just like that?
Pretty much. They say they can do whiskey in days using science and technology, using activation tech, whatever that means.
Is this lasers, is it?
It could be robots, Justin. It could be lasers. It could be helium gas, for all I know. I don't know. But they say they can make whiskey, age-old whiskey, in days rather than years. They claim it uses 97% less wood, because obviously they're not putting in casks for any length of time, and it's 20% more spirit because there's no angel share. So they say that they can tailor make a whiskey to the customer's needs in days. I think I would like to try this. I have my suspicions, but under Scottish and Irish law, that wouldn't be whiskey because it has to be aged for a minimum of 3 years in wood.
Okay. All right.
Be whiskey.
Yeah, that is a weird one. Let us know what you think on that, and we'll give you a mention as the show progresses tonight. And I think you've got one or two more final items of news tonight, Marty.
Couple of little ones. The US and EU trade war. American exports of whiskey to the EU. Now, that is also currently including Irish whiskies and stuff. Britain falls under the same category because it was imposed last year. American exports of whiskey to the EU have dropped 41%. They have, because the EU has imposed a 25% tax since June 2018. Sales are down from $757 million to $449 million.
Wow.
American imports of Scotch have fallen 35%, down to $852 million from $1.31 billion. Now, this is not good for the industry. Trade wars, I find very. I don't particularly like them. I'm very much a free trade person. It's quite obvious that this is going to hit the industry quite hard, certainly in the short term. So, yeah, sooner these guys wise up, the better, I think. Get the whiskey flowing. Finally, whiskey cask investment. Whiskey cask investment has now been revealed to be outperforming Bitcoin, the SP 500, or gold in terms of an investment. A group this week found that $100,000 invested in July 2018 would be worth $160,000 today. So you can imagine massive increase. Investors have been chasing different investments as interest rates remain low. Now,
is this where you got the money to buy the mirror?
This is a poster, Justin. This is a poster. This is really nice. Very nice. If anyone reads this and automatically thinks about jumping in to buy these casks, make yourself aware of what you're doing. There are taxes to be paid if you buy them yourself. There are bottling fees. There's a whole pile of fees to take into consideration. But there are companies that will invest on your behalf. And it's basically the same as any other sort of asset procurement, unit trusts or anything like that. Do your homework before you would invest. Certainly, if you're going to invest 100,000, you need to do your homework. But you can make money on it. Just be very careful, okay? Because there are, like most of these things, there are sort of cowboys about. So, yeah, just take care, and be aware of any potential pitfalls before you invest any money. And that's the week in whiskey.
Very good, very good. Seems to be a lot happening in the world of whiskey. Now, let's see what you're saying yourself tonight. So we've got lots of people watching all around the world. And remember, if you say something, the comments do appear live on the screen here. And Mark Kerr saying there's weird sounds. I don't think there's any weird sounds tonight. Are there? There was me typing in the keyboard before we started when the countdown went. Mark, you have a very acute sense of hearing. Patrick Mulkey is saying good evening. Trevor Watson is saying good evening. Julie Mason is saying hi all. Mark's saying good evening again. Good evening again. Hello, good evening and welcome. Julie Mason saying excellent, Marty. Mark Kerr is saying that was an excellent news item. My glasses look very nice. This is one of my many pairs of glasses, but this is the only one for actually watching the computer screen. But I have them on tonight so as I can actually see the screen. Mark Kerr's given the unsmiley face because of the situations tonight. It's not good. No, it's not good. Marty, you didn't have a good sense of, a sense of foreboding that struck you when you were walking around Belfast today a bit, yeah?
For a Saturday in Belfast, it was very, very quiet. It was the Cathedral Quarter was dead. There was hardly a sinner. There was a couple of tourists walking about. I was talking to McHugh's, the staff of McHugh's, and they were saying that they're not getting very many customers. It's very, very slow. That all the bars, all the city centre bars are feeling it, and you do have to wonder. When the Duke of York is closed and said that they're closed for the foreseeable future and laying off their staff, I mean, it's not a good omen for very many places, to be honest. Certainly the small independent ones, I struggle to see how they're going to do it.
Yeah, it's rough. Shane saying, listen, a lot more mentions to get through. I better run through them before we get to the goodies, the stuff that makes whiskey interesting. Michael Matthews is saying, evening lads, I'm afraid the new world normal will not be kind to the licensed trade. Yes, it's not looking good. And then Jody Burke's back from Prince Edward Island in Canada. Good evening to you. And Canada, bonsoir, Canada.
It's like Eurovision there.
I know. We didn't have Eurovision this year, so we'll have to do it. Yule Price is saying he has the black pits on order. There you go. That's good news there. The black pits is on order. There you go. That's what it looks like. Pretty impressive. It's almost like steampunk, that, isn't it?
Yeah. It's supposed to be. Obviously, I haven't tasted it because it's not out yet, but. This has been added now to their core range, so you'll be able to buy this. This isn't like a one-off limited edition thing. So this is going to be added to their core range. I would be. I, as you know, like a peated whiskey. This will be a mild peated whiskey, but probably a little bit punchier than you think. You know.
Sounds nice. Sounds nice, in my opinion. William saying, "Good evening." Yes, we had the pleasure of meeting William this week, and we'll maybe give his sort of coffee infused whiskey, or whiskey infused coffee. I mentioned, got that the wrong way around. Wishful thinking. Julie's saying those two whiskeys look very, very impressive. They certainly do. There's the other one, the Waterford one. Micah Sampson is saying this is kind of hilarious. Is it? Yeah, we have the same script writers as Saturday Night Live, Micah. There you go. All right. So that's why it's so good. And somebody's noticed it. Shane Foley has noticed it. I wonder if you have a son, would you name him Axel Foley? Is that a whiskey scented candle? Put that close to the screen and I'll put it on. Look at that there. Look at that there. Look at that there. It is a whiskey scented candle. You know?
Aroma to whiskey.
God. Micah Sampson says, makes me think more about starting my own distillery. If I can make something good within weeks that tastes ages for years. Yes, just talking about the instant whiskey. Yeah.
It's put like this. If it works, fair enough. I'm sure it'll be palatable enough in comparison to some of the whiskies that there are about. I'm sure they probably make nice enough spirit. But you have to remember, legally, if you did that in Ireland or did it in Scotland, you can't make whiskey unless it's aged for 3 years in a barrel. So, what you would call it would be a strange one.
Mike is saying, "Free the whiskey" is the hashtag for this. Free the whiskey. Yeah, that's a fantastic hashtag. Jordy Burke is saying he loves the poster, but we'll get to that later. Okay. And Julie Mason thinks the headlines are a very, very nice addition to the current show with the whiskey news. Very good. Yeah.
You know, something like that there.
I was going to do that, but then the copyright people would have cut us off then, so we didn't do that. Stanley Song saying good evening.
Evening, Stanley.
William saying it was great to meet us during the week. It was indeed nice to meet you too. Andrew McAllister is tuning in from Banbridge. And
excellent.
Haggy Hagalund is greetings from Sweden. And yes,
Eurovision. This is like the Eurovision Song Contest.
It is. Shall I do it? Shall I do the Swedish one? Shall I?
Go ahead.
Helgamiga Algaweagle. I just made that up. It's good, but it is good. Listen, at least you're watching us in Sweden. There's certain people in Norwegian whiskey groups and Australians, and we're persona non grata. Isn't that right, Marty?
They don't like us for some reason. They
don't understand how social media works, and they don't like us. So there you go. It's not Norway. It's no way.
No, 0 point for Murray and Dustin. But no, the thing is, social media is about being social. It's about spreading, socializing, and sending stuff across. Whenever you send stuff to them, and they go, no, and away they go. It's
and Jordy Burke is saying, nous sommes tout le monde Québécois en Canada. Ne pas. There you go. Look at that there. Jordy, don't say we don't cater for all the audience. There you go, Jordy. Couldn't resist that. Sorry. Keep watching. Don't tune out.
Don't give you a
greetings from Ballymena. It's not quite as cool as Prince Edward Island. It's probably warmer in Ballymena than Prince Edward Island. Jordy Burke is saying very cool Canada. Yeah, very cool candle. I can nearly speak tonight. Your Price is saying, Marty, we need to pay Stanley a visit and do a Chinese whiskey night. I'm sure he'd be happy. Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, Stanley Sung is the proprietor of the Go Sun Chinese restaurant in Ballymena. Been in business 53 years, if less I'm mistaken, which probably makes him the oldest Chinese in Northern Ireland, the longest running Chinese in Northern Ireland. And there's a very good reason for that. His food's superb. And he also has quite a large whiskey collection, which I try and demolish as often as I possibly can. But we'll have to get a run in. We'll have to get a run in with you.
All right. I don't know any Chinese, so we won't do that. All right.
Ni hao.
I was going to do that, but I'll leave it to you. So Shane Riley is saying greetings from Dublin. You know, we would speak Irish, but nobody would understand it, so we won't do that. All right. So where were we? We're 20 minutes in. We haven't even bloody started the show tonight.
I know. That's your fault. Can I just pull you on something, by the way, Justin?
Yeah.
On this week, whenever we posted a photo when me and you were down at the bothy, down with William.
Yeah.
Someone remarked that I wasn't wearing my green jumpers, one of my green jumpers. At which point I said I wear it whenever I'm doing this for continuity purposes. And you said it was a costume. No, and I said it's a uniform, Justin. It's when the people working in McDonald's that are cooking the burgers, they wear a uniform. The boy that dresses as Ronald McDonald wears the costume. So this is a uniform, Justin.
It is. It's a uniform. Whereas I just throw whatever's on me. Some weeks I don't even have any trousers on.
That's why we get done for nudity.
No, I didn't. I don't know where that came from. Listen, look at this here. This is where you get this coffee that we had. And, you know, we're not endorsing it, but we're saying, listen, if you fancy it, would make it something nice for Christmas. There's the full details on screen. It is fabulous. And you never know if we can get William to star in it, we might even do a video before Christmas. You never know that. And there's Shane Riley saying, what whiskey would you pair with curry sauce?
Curry sauce is a bit strong, really, to do with anything, to take anything that would be sort of refined and delicate. So you'd need something punchy. I would go probably with a curry. Let me think. You need big, bold flavors. So you're probably going to talk something like a big peated one. To sort of go with depending on the curry, obviously, but you don't something you sort of almost clash with it. Probably an Ardbeg or something. Give that a whirl. You know, you'd have smoke and fire, depending if it's a Vindaloo or sort of or higher. You know, a fowl, something like that. I would probably go something a bit heavy, peated.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Sounds about right. Now,
taking masala, then I might probably go with something a little bit spicy, like a rye, sort of rye maybe.
Okay. Good. Now, remember, if you want to get in touch, all you have to do is type it in here on YouTube or Facebook. We get the message, it appears on screen. We can answer it for you. And it's a good idea to get those mentions in before 10:02, because otherwise they come through at the last minute. They don't all get here, and then we can't answer them. Well, you can answer them, but we don't do it live on screen. So let me see. The oil price is saying... Lefroy would be good. Yeah, might be all right. Yeah, might be good. It's maybe a bit good to have with a curry. But there you go. Trevor Watson is saying, what whiskey is Marty drinking tonight? What are you actually drinking tonight?
Now, I've decided to give myself a little treat because I had paid employment, essentially.
Yeah.
I decided I'd treat myself. So I've went for the rather amazing Redbreast 12 cask strength.
Lovely.
This is fabulous. Absolutely wonderful. It's just, it ticks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. One wee touch of water, and there you go.
Lucky for you, Mark Kerr saying a mild curry, maybe a Pars Gold label. Yeah. Yeah. And Stanley Sung is saying the silky maybe might work. It might work. Yeah, they're peaty. I'd be interested to try these peaty ones that are all. There's a plethora of peaty ones coming out all over the place, Marty, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, what we could do is possibly get Chef Rob to do something like this. I'd maybe ask Chef Rob the next time we're talking to him. Slimish Market Supper Club. Possibly, I'll ask him. And so the next time, whenever we go and do a wee tasting thing with Chef Rob, and you steal my dulce again, this is not forgotten, Justin. But when we go in there, I'll ask him and see what he thinks, because he knows his food. I know the whiskey, he knows the food. You know.
Right, we're halfway through the show. We're 26 minutes in tonight. We've got a lot to get through. We've got at least half a dozen slides to get through tonight. So that's a slide every sort of minute or so before we get to the end and the recap. So let's look. What have we got in way of collectibles this week?
Now, there's lots of people are now collecting whiskies, but there's also a collector's market for ephemera. The stuff we touched on a lot of this one time before when we did advertising, but lots and lots of stuff came out to really promote around whiskey and whiskey related goods and all this kind of stuff. So this is a whiskey soap. I don't have whiskey soap. No, at least I don't think. I actually have a bar of, sitting up here, soap from Sweeney's in Dublin for James Joyce for Ulysses. I don't know why I mentioned that, but it's there anyway. So you have all these sort of whiskey related products, but then you have whiskey collectibles as well. And the likes of the whiskey and honey soap, these kind of things are sold. It's a bit gimmicky, but all of this is really a little bit gimmicky to try and get you to do advertising for to advertise stuff and so on and so forth. The likes of these posters, these would have put up in bars. I think everybody will have seen this kind of thing in pubs. These are now extremely collectible. This is obviously James McAllister and Son, established 1850, old Irish whiskey, and from my hometown in Ballymena, my wonderful, the cultural centre of the world, intellectual hub of the north, etc., etc. Anyway, so this is an original poster, and lots of this is very collectible. Now, if you go into lots of bars have this kind of thing on show, but the collector's market is getting more and more, well, lucrative. So there's lots of reproductions. For example, I bought this. I didn't pay an awful lot of money for it. It was like, I think I maybe paid a £10 or £15 for it. This is a little reproduction mirror. This was probably made about 15 years ago. Maybe not even that. So it's nice to have, but it's not worth any money. Okay. Again, a couple of other things that I've picked up. Again, this is a Murphy's soda siphon. Murphy's is another whiskey bonders and bottler in Ballymena, and I paid like £40 for this.
That's beautiful, Marty. That is beautiful. That's iconic.
It is, and it's very funny because I took two of the Murphy's family members, the grandsons of Mr. Patrick Murphy, to round Ballymena, showing them where their grandfather was. He was also mayor of Ballymena twice, and he was made a sir in the papal orders. So he's a very interesting guy, actually, really interesting. So, as I say, all of that's collectible. Again, you've put up the whiskey on the rocks. These will be kind of a gifty type thing for Christmas. These are actually made from Ailsa Craig granite, and the idea is you chill the rocks, you freeze the rocks, and then you can drop them in. They chill your whiskey without putting water in it. Now, most people think these are laughable, putting stones in your whiskey and all that kind of stuff. As I've said umpteen times before, drink it whatever way you want. If you want to put chilled rocks in your whiskey, crack on. But what you'll find is most of these are bought for people for gifts. People will buy them to give them to people that drink whiskey for Christmas. I've been given, I don't know, many sets of these. Unfortunately, most of the time, they end up residing in the bin. There's not really a big lot. Now, these are made from Ailsa Craig, which I can see from the bottom of the road. Just over there. That's the same granite they make curling stones from.
It is. Mark Kerr is saying he's giving away free bricks from Dunville's house if anybody wants one. Oh boy!
If it's stuff with Dunville on it, they'll be worth a fortune. But there's a real collector's market for all this kind of thing. The likes of these little jugs, again, they're little promotional jugs that we're giving away. This is probably only a few pounds, but you can pay substantial amounts of money for them. Again, the candle, it's a bit of a gimmicky thing. I don't think it smells of whiskey in any way, shape or form, but The idea, you light it and blow it out and the smoke filters through the air and suddenly everything smells of whiskey.
Some of these jugs are pretty cool, but I mean, they're pretty cool. You don't see them everywhere anymore, do you really?
Not really. Advertising budgets tend these days to go on TV commercials and that kind of thing. I wish it started to come on social media advertising, Justin. Ka-ching. But anyway, the likes of these now appear at auction all the time. They hold dedicated pub memorabilia. There's a name for this. It's brewabilia or something they call it now, where lots of this stuff that used to be pub decoration, essentially, is now really, really collectible. But, same as everything else, you have to be very careful. There was an auction last week of a pub from County Down where it was ram-packed with all this collectible stuff.
Fakes?
No, most of it, all of it was original. But if you think the stuff that you have is reproduction or possibly a fake, because some of this stuff now is being faked because there's quite a lot of money in it. The likes of these little things here, again, they're probably original, probably worth 50, 60 quid. So that will not be fake, right? If, however, you go to, there was 2 mirrors for sale at the auction during the week, at the start of the week. The DWD mirrors.
Right. And I'm gonna flash them on screen, right? And I'm only gonna put one on at a time, okay? But I might put the other one up actually, right? Here's the 2. Look at that one, right? And of course, it's spot the difference time, Marty, isn't it?
Yes, Justin. Now, one of these mirrors is worth a lot of money and one's not. The one that looks as if it's on the floor.
It's this one below me. Yep.
This one below you. That sold for €70. 70. Okay? Not a big lot of money.
Not a lot. Not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money. The other one, that sold for €7,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. So, when I say sometimes people have these mirrors and think, oh, it's worth a fortune, and they're not. And other times people have them and think, well, they probably might not be worth that much when they are.
That would be a very, very, very painful mistake to make. It certainly would. That would be a terrible mistake to make, you know?
Would be. Now, we mentioned earlier on about the Hart Bar and the Duke of York. Willie Jack, who owns both of them, he owns the company, has collected these whiskey mirrors for a very long time. Now, there's a photo of another mirror, the Murphy's one, which is upstairs in the Hart Bar, and the upper bit of it, which is called Orpheus.
Is that the green one, is it? No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Do I have that one, do you?
You should have, yeah.
Which one's that?
It says Murphy's and my reflections on it.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So this is the same Patrick Murphy as this. Willie Jack collects all the Ballymena stuff because he comes from just outside it.
There's the 7 towers on it. The 7 towers of Ballymena. Yeah.
The city of the 7 towers, and anyone who doesn't know the story knows that it's not a city and it never had 7 towers. So it's in the chimney. But this was a launch for the Dunvilles Port Morant cast I was at. And this is the mirror, one of the mirrors that's up there. Now, the walls are festooned in these things. That mirror is probably worth 5,000 to 7,000. And if you go around the walls in Orpheus, there are dozens of these. They are really, really collectible. Willie has collected these for a very, very long time. So the walls in Orpheus upstairs are worth an awful lot of money. It's why there's an awful lot of security on the doors. But they are well worth seeing. If fingers crossed it opens again, it's worth even just getting up and just to have a look around the walls, because there's some really unique stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it's very, very beautiful indeed, very, very ornate and all. It's just fantastic. Now, remember, if you like the show, remember to comment, like, and share. Hit share, send it to all your friends and family. Tell all your mates about it if they're into whiskey. Make sure you go onto YouTube, Irish Whiskey Review on YouTube, and hit subscribe and hit the bell. It doesn't cost anything. Just make sure you're signed in and hit subscribe, and you'll never miss a show. And you'll be able to watch all of Marty's whiskey reviews as well, which are getting some attention, aren't they?
My next review, Justin, we went for on again. I review this.
Wow.
Now, this is a fairly cheap whiskey. This is, without question, the worst whiskey I've ever tasted, and that's a big claim. I would wash this down with proper 12. It is atrocious. So that's my next review.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. How a company as big as Grant's release something like that, I do not know. It's just shockingly bad. But anyway, I was saying about these mirrors. There are lots of these mirrors still floating about, and lots of them in pubs, etc., etc. Some people have them at home. They are worth checking out because some of them can be worth a fair amount of money now. I think the most expensive sold recently for £12,000. So, as I say, very collectible, well worth having a look at.
What about these ceramic style signs? Are they as collectible? I actually like ceramic signs better than I would like mirrors, to be honest.
Well, that's enamel. That's
yeah. Well, enamel ceramic. Yeah.
Coleraine whiskey back in the day was one of the most highly regarded Irish whiskies. The HC, they put that on it to say that it was sold in the House of Commons, Commons, etc., etc. That sold this week. What do you reckon that would be, just an old enamel sign?
£200.
£1,100.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically, after fees, you're talking a grand, aren't you? Yeah.
Oh, well, it's €11,000. So normally the auction fees will be about 17.5%.
Right. So
you're probably talking it would be about £1,250.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're getting asked some very good questions tonight, Marty. We've about 20 minutes to run. We're 2/3 through the show. Go on YouTube, hit subscribe, and hit the bell. Okay, so you can comment and watch us on YouTube as well. Tell all your friends. It's very easier to do a comment, like, and share on Facebook, but do follow us on YouTube as well. Here's Shane O'Reilly has come back with a question. Any clues as to what is a genuine mirror versus a modern copy? It's hard to do because I've seen it on that Salvage Hunters. They can make old ones new ones look distressed and aged and old and stuff like that.
It's very hard, and unfortunately I'm not an expert in this kind of thing. If you're going to spend big money on this, there are Facebook pages of people that collect these kind of things, and they are much better versed at knowing about this than I am. If I'm ever going to buy anything like that, I would either check with them or make sure it's through a reputable dealer. I have a couple of friends. I have one very good friend who has collected the stone jars and stuff, the whiskey jugs and that kind of thing for a long.
This sort of thing, yeah.
He collects these. If I seen one of those, they're not worth huge amounts of money, so probably they're not going to be faked. But sometimes what you'll find is people get transfers and put them on the front of them. which they'll just buy an ordinary sort of stone jar and get a transfer put on top of it and then sell it for an extra amount of money. They're not genuine, they're not worth anything more really than the ordinary stone jar. You're probably talking 5-10 quid. But the ones that are actually stamped, they can be worth a bit of money too. They could be worth, you could be talking a couple of £100 for one of those.
One like that there, that's sort of
yeah. These are fairly common. They're not the Mitchell's Christine Lawn. That you would probably pay about £100 for, but they're not very rare. But they are collectible. They're very nice things. They're very sort of tactile thing to hold. That sort of earthenware jar. Again, they're not ever going to be worth big money. But if somebody comes in and says to you, "I have a couple of those, do you want to take them?" Well, they're giving you quite a nice gift. So what I'm saying is, lots of this isn't worth massive money. Some of it is, but not all of it. But it's all the collectible stuff. I mean, the likes of these glasses. These are my glass, but I have a little one from Springbank that I got. I was over Springbank one time. So Campbelltown malts. This little thing. Again, it's really only a collectible. The promotional stuff from the Connaught Whisky Distillery. Again, a Dunville's one. I think guys who were doing our whisky tasting from the Dunvilles way back weeks ago. I think Jarlath, if memory serves, I think Jarlath sent one of these out, did he not? Then there's this one, another little funky glass from Middleton. Middleton very rare glass with a little notch in it so you can hold and all that kind of stuff. Again, it's just promotional stuff. That glass there is probably worth 15-20 quid because it's quite rare. The likes of these, they're not very collectible really, but when the likes of this came out originally, this wasn't collectible, so it's maybe worth hanging on to some.
Is it down to taste? Because some of these things are really quite highly decorative, aren't they?
But Justin, it's a bit like there's people out there who collect the McDonald's toys from Happy Meals. When they were mass produced in I don't know, South Korea or wherever it was they were produced, they're small little bits of plastic that people played with them and threw them away. Now, some of those are worth, well, a fair amount of money. So it's hard. Excuse me. It's hard to know exactly what's going to be collectible, but you can have a fair idea that the likes of these kind of things, they're always going to have some sort of decorative value, if nothing else. Some of the promotional stuff will be worth a bit of money. The likes of that, the Springbank thing, they sell them in the gift shop. I was given that as long as I remember. It could be collectible, and it might not be. It's hard to know. If it's hard and fast rule, everybody would just collect the same thing, But it's hard to collect the stuff.
Is it true that you're going to be appearing on a rugby show? Is that true?
I may do a slight defection. We have people who get social media understand that you share your stuff. I'm going to give away a little secret, but people are copying us anyway, so we might as well do it. I expect to see This Week in Whisky appearing on other other shows very shortly. But anyway, we have a fellow rugby enthusiast who cross promotes us, and we mention them. So if you're interested in rugby, go check out Joe Shepherd's.
Three Blokes, a Ball and a Bod, which is on screen now, because he gets it, and he knows that people that drink whiskey, drink alcohol, like rugby.
Could be, and people who like rugby might like a drink. So we share our information, and I might be appearing on his show. So there you go.
There you go. What wonderful stuff. Now we've got a few other things here, and some of this stuff I've seen, and some of I haven't. What is that there? What is that a mirror, or is it not a mirror? Does that count as a mirror?
again, this is coming from the heart bar. It's not a mirror. It's basically to say the heart bar is on the hill, on the former offices of Bush Mills in Belfast. And it's basically just a promotional thing. It's basically just something to say that's where they're there. It's not a mirror, but it's a fairly decorative piece, you know.
It's pretty cool looking. It is pretty cool, you know.
Imagine you would pay quite a lot of money for that. That wouldn't have been cheap.
I bet you there's some aficionados are going to say we've got the date wrong in that, but it's their date. This is 1784 in that one.
Yes, that's when the Bushmills Company was established. On a bottle of Bushmills. Everybody thinks I have an absolute mountain of whiskey lying in below here, but I don't. I've only a few bottles. All the rest of it's over there.
No. DHL deliver them. They come from the prop store out the back. They're like my hats, Marty. They come from the prop store. You know, look. They come from the prop store. Look, it's cold out there.
Please don't wear hats, Justin. Please. These bottles is 1608. As we know, Bushmills was granted a patent or a license back in 1608 by King James, and that's why they put 1608 on it. But that was for the townland. The actual company wasn't established until the late 18th century, so we didn't get it wrong.
Well, there's a couple of other things. I mean, what about these sort of collectibles, these sort of fancy boxes that come in now? You know, do people keep them? You know, do people keep them? I keep things like iPad boxes and stuff like that because what do you see? You keep an iPad box. You know, you keep them in good condition. There's people want them.
People collect this kind of stuff, Justin. People collect old computers. You know, the old BBC green screen computers and stuff. People collect them because they think they're iconic. The old iMacs, you know, the very decorative iMacs.
Yep. People just keep them sitting there. Yeah.
Because they're decorative. This is an interesting one because this is a modern release by the good folk down at Dunville's. This is a Port Moran rum cask finish. What you're looking at there is £600 to buy, or 585 if memory serves.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you look at the mirror on the inside of the box, you can see on the left-hand side.
Well, that's an actual mirror there. Yep. Okay.
What you're getting for your 585 quid is you're getting that little booklet, which is filled of advertising stuff from way back in the day. They sent a girl over to America to check out old adverts and stuff. So you're getting all the sort of history of the adverts at Dunville's. The little miniature is a miniature of the rum that was in the cask that they then bought and subsequently aged the whiskey in. So it's 41-year-old rum from Port Moran in Guyana. You wouldn't be able to afford to buy, not even on your wages, Justin, could you afford to buy a bottle of 41-year-old rum? None of that. So you'll get a taste of that if you wish. You get and then the bottle of the whiskey, which is cask strength, hand numbered, and limited to 8 casks. 4 for the UK and Ireland, I think, and then 4 I think went to the States. But then you also get a mirror. Now you can only get that mirror if you buy a bottle of that.
Wow.
Now, that might not seem like a big deal now, but when that poster was first printed, what would that have cost, Justin? Pennies.
Yes.
So, £585 seems a lot of money, but I'm going to suggest that mirror, in a not too distant future, possibly 15, 20 years' time, that mirror is going to be fairly collectible in its own right. Might not be worth £600, but it might. So I know lots of people. These are still available to buy. You know, they didn't sell out because a lot of people said, "Oh, it's very expensive for a whiskey." Add together what it is, and it's maybe not as expensive as you think. You know.
Yeah, it's a weird one. That certainly, if you're into that sort of thing, you're striking off rum, Dunville's, and a mirror in one go.
You are put it like this: you can only buy those mirrors if you buy that presentation pack. that whiskey. So again, it's very much. I don't think it's ever going to be worth less than what you paid for it.
Yeah, you're probably right there. Now, we're in the final 10 minutes of the show. If you want to say hello, do say hello. William's saying he's trying a sax tonight on your recommendation. Very nice, yeah.
Sorry, repeat that again, Justin.
A sexton tonight?
I missed the tone bit there. Yeah, I thought my recommendation there was a couple of people having fun tonight. No, anyway.
Yes, and Kit Charles is raising a glass to Brenton and Senna tonight. They're saying Kelowna would be nice. I think that's with the curry as well. Yes, they were talking about the curry earlier on, and what would be nice with a peated one.
Cologne have actually just brought out a dark rum last week. Remember we did one where we talked about the Solera method?
Yes.
Brendan down in Cologne had used the Solera method to make a dark rum from their own flame, heated, tiny little stills. I haven't tried it yet. I'm very remiss with me. I haven't tried it, but I think it would be very good. If you're a rum fan, it might be well worth checking out, finding a bottle of Cologne dark rum.
Lovely. What are we supposed to be getting sent? What's coming out? There's a new one coming out from that PR company that got in touch with us this week. What's that we're due? A 26-year-old, is it, or something like that?
No, there's Bushmills are going to be bringing out in the not too distant future a Causeway series, I think it's called. I love Bushmills, but I have been critical of them in the past because I think they're a little bit staid, their core range is fabulous, but a little bit boring. And where all these other new whiskey companies are bringing out organic whiskies and triple still peated whiskies and rum cask finishes and this finish and tequila finish and that. Bushmills have sort of stuck to their guns and kept going. They brought out the acacia wood, which I showed there a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, absolutely, that's what Bushmills need to be doing. They have probably the best whiskey. I think everybody knows that they have the best whiskey stock in Ireland. But it just seems to be slightly missing the point over the last little while. And hopefully with this Causeway series, we don't really know what it is they're going to be bringing out, but I think it's some sort of single casks and cask strengths and this kind of stuff. So really looking forward to that. Not coming to be.
Yes, you never know. You might be surprised. No,
I wouldn't be surprised, Justin. That's the thing. I'm surprised that they haven't done it before. That's the surprising.
That's the surprising thing. Yeah, I'm with you. Now, we've also good news because not everybody wants to sit down at a screen. You might be walking the dog. You might be driving in the car. I don't think it's a good idea to drive in the car, even if it is a Telsa, and watch this show.
No.
So we have done a thing, and you're actually over the moon that you're on Spotify now. You're on iTunes. You're on Google Podcasts. You're on all the big names in the podcast, and this is where you get them. Look at that there. You can see them all there.
We went multi-platform. We're in everything now, Justin. We're all over the place.
Yeah, we're in absolutely this. There's about going on for 23 shows on there, and they're all there, and you can scroll down them all, see them all, share them. You can even message us from it. Anchor.com, anchor.fm is where they're at. And you can actually get them on your preferred platform as well. But they're all hosted at Anchor FM, which is basically appearing on the screen here as we speak. So
we're on Spotify, aren't we? Did you put us on Spotify?
Yes, we're on Spotify. It's strange the way audio works because you host it somewhere and it's fed elsewhere with an RSS feed. But that's where they're mainly hosted there, which is Anchor FM. But you'll find them on iTunes, where 47% of people are downloading them, and on Google as well. But iTunes is the main one. But it's on I think it says 8 different platforms there. So you basically got the whole gamut. You have Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, and the straight RSS feed if you have a client for that sort of thing as well. Now, final bit of the show here. People are agreeing with you. JP O'Riordan is saying, couldn't agree more with you there. Ree Bushmills, I think everyone wants to see them do more. There you go.
Everybody loves them. Everybody loves what they do. A lot of it's absolutely fabulous. Some of it not so much, but most of it's fabulous. And their spirit's amazing. I just wish it'd be a bit more exciting. And hopefully this, with the Causeway series, that's what's going to happen. You know?
Okay. Peter Mulcahy is saying, has the Causeway series been released in Australia already? Remember reading something? We're not privy to that. Is that the case?
They have released a 27-year-old whiskey in Australia. I don't know whether that's the Causeway series. I don't think it is. I think this is something different again, which we'll have to just wait and see. I'm not in Australia, unfortunately. Well, it's nice. But no, the thing about it is, I think it's slightly different. I think it's a slightly different thing. I'm not sure.
It could be product testing of some sort. You wouldn't know. Let me see. Peter McCabe is saying he likes my hat. No, you don't like my hat. No. Okay.
Peter really likes your hat, Justin. I think he's wear a hat every week.
I'm maybe going to send him the hat. Let me see. There's where to find us on Anchor, Irish Whiskey Review. Jared Garland is saying he's a big Spotify fan and he's followed us. There you go. It's the same show without the pictures, okay? It's the same show without the pictures. You have to visualize it. And then Mark Kerr saying what you think. Will they ever beat a Black Bush and a Coke Zero? Will they?
Coke Zero. I'll hit you in the head with a Coke Zero. Black Bush, for my money, as a bargain whiskey, is very hard to beat. The quality of it, the price of it, £25 for a bottle of whiskey. You have to remember £11 of that tax plus what the shop's going to take, etc., etc. It's about 70+% malt, sherry cask finish. It's fabulous stuff, fabulous whiskey. So if they bring out something at £25 that's better than Black Bush, I'll be astonished. There's never any Black Bush in my house because I keep drinking it all. So take note of that. Sounds daft, but I really like it, but it just disappears extremely quick. So yeah.
Right. And well, we're what are we, less than 100 days from Christmas? This is what you need to buy the wife: a whiskey scented candle. She'll love you for it. They love these whiskey scented candles, don't they?
That's from the wonderful. I stayed there a couple of years ago. You can actually stay in a distillery, the Rassy Distillery. Which, if you don't know where Rassy is you have to go across to the Isle of Skye, drive up, and then get another ferry to go to Rassy. There's about 100 people live in this place. And from there, there's a big, massive glass window, and you look across the sky, and the Isle of Skye is lit up by the sun, and then about 10 minutes later, the clouds come in, and it goes all dark, and it's lashing with rain. It's absolutely beautiful. The whiskey they're making will be extremely good. As I say, I stayed there on a Saturday evening, and they have a whiskey bar, but no one manning it, Justin.
Hold on to get my hat. I'm going.
Why are you figuring that? They had lots and lots of very nice whiskies, and it was an honesty bar, Justin. And as you know, I'm as honest as the day is long. I wrote down every single whiskey I took, every single one, about 6 different whiskies I took, and I wrote them all down because I'm an honest kind of guy. The problem was I couldn't find the measure thing. I couldn't find where you got the the 35mm measure thing. Unfortunately,
all right.
So I had to guess, had to use my best judgment, and I think about that much there's about 35 mil, unless I'm mistaken.
Maybe.
Yeah, a wonderful night. It was super.
Listen, we're going to leave it there. We're coming up on the 60-minute mark. I think we're past the 60-minute mark now, actually. Some great comments tonight. So enjoy your show. Thank you, Marty and Justin. Mark Kerr, does it evaporate very fast at room temperature? The candle, probably, yeah. And we'll leave this comment here. Patrick's agreeing with on the Black Bush. And, well, I'll maybe cut this out. We're going to be the Grinch, and it looks like you'll like this. We might not be doing Christmas this year. Bah, humbug. Bah, humbug.
We'll be doing some sort of Christmas. We'll just have to make it as good as we can.
Who knows? Who knows? Right. Thank you very much. Catch you next week, Marty. That's all for tonight. Thank you.
Stay safe, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.